in the most simplest way you can, break down the finals format in the stupid simple. Just as little words as possible, and give us a good general idea.
think I think we're going to be breaking down simply. We're going to try and ignore the cup.
Like, it doesn't have to be
So
perfectly explained, but the
okay.
real
Well,
good general
let
gist.
me to the season. We got the sprint. So we got the sprint cup. Let me get my thing in front of me so I can be accurate on which rounds these are.
Yeah.
So the sprint cup is round 1 through to 8. So from Sydney all the way through to Ipswich or Queensland Raceway, whatever you want to call it. Now, this pretty much runs like the season we've always had. The
Yeah.
points are all the same. The only difference is the point system is now a bonus point for fastest lap.
Okay.
There'll be 5 bonus points for the fastest lap within the top 15.
Okay.
So you can't, like Formula One, you can't just do a last minute pit stop when you've got no fuel in the car, throw a set of greens on it, and still the fastest lap. You must be still in the top 15 to
Yeah,
gain
you're
those
in
extra
a
5 points.
competitive position to an extent.
Yeah. So at the end of the Sprint Cup, the championship leader, so let's say if it was this year, would have been Will Brown, they will be crowned the Sprint Cup champion. They will be guaranteed a spot in the finals, which we'll get back to later,
Yep.
and a bonus 25 points to be used in the finals, which we'll also get back to later. Now we move to the Enduros. The Enduros run like they always have. Pretty much imagine the old Pertec Enduro Cup. Exact same system. There is
Okay.
no fastest lap for the Enduro. There's no fastest lap for the Enduro races. All the points are still the same. At the end of the 2 Enduro races, the what's been called the Bend Motorsport, the Bend Enduro. I don't know why they're not
Oh
calling it
fuck!
1200.
Because
It is a 500.
they
But
dropped sand down. I forgot about that.
yeah, that's all
They
part of
dro-
contracts. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we got
So
people to kill.
after the combined points from the Bend and the Bathurst 1000, after those 2 races, the winner of the combined total points from those 2 races will be called
Yep.
the Enduro champion.
Okay.
Now, very clearly, this only extends to the primary driver. This does not extend to the secondary driver. They're not crowned anything. And I also believe that wild cards are ineligible. So
Okay.
while
Yep.
it's unlikely that Zach Bates and Craig Lowndes is going to win the Enduro Cup, if they were to, they're not guaranteed spot in the finals. They are a wild card. My belief
Yeah.
is you have to entered in every round. Maybe not compete, but be entered as a starter.
Okay.
So you got to be a main
Main
time
team.
driver.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
right. So after all that, we get our top 10.
Yep.
Top 10 in the standings. They are through to the finals. If one of the 2 cup winners are outside the top 10,
Yep.
then it'll only be the top 9 and the cup winner. And the cup winners if they're both outside the top 10. Now, the likelihood of the championship leader at round 8 not being in the top 10 by round 11 is pretty much 0.
Yep.
The likelihood that the Enduro Cup will not be in that top 10, the Enduro Cup winners on the top 10 either, is probably 0 as well. So we get the top 10 with the Enduro Cup winners inside it.
Yep.
Like I said, if for some reason if those 2 aren't in it, it'll be the top 9 or the top 8 with them added on. Now, what happens from this point is the points are reset to, off the top of my brain, I believe they're reset the first time to 4,000. So the top 10 get the points reset to 4,000 across the board even. This is done to push them away from 11th. So no matter what happens for the rest of the season, 11th can never catch 10th. So no matter what happens in the rest of the final system, 11th will always be 11th. They cannot go to the top 10.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Just to make it simpler on the standing system. So they reset the 4,000, and then the championship leader will get an extra 150. Second will get an extra 130, and then so on down until I think 10th gets an extra 70 points. So they've still kept in their order by a few points, but it's like a safety car. It's a big points safety car that bunches everyone up, but everyone's still in position by those little points here and there. Now, for the Sprint Cup winners, those extra 25 points they won by winning those cups, they get added on. So say if it was Will Brown. Will Brown, if the system was in this year, Will Brown would have won both the enduro and the sprint. So Will Brown would get an extra 50. Let's, for argument's sake, say Will Brown wins the sprint, but Brody Kosecki wins the enduro. Will Brown gets an extra 25. Brody gets an extra 25, and it's added to that initial reset.
Okay.
So now we move to the first final, the Gold Coast, which is two 250-kilometre races. Now, at the end of this round, the bottom three drivers will be dropped. So only the top 7 continue in the final system.
Okay, so we go from... Is that from the weekend itself or from the first race of the weekend?
From the weekend overall,
yeah.
We go from... After the 2 races, the top 3 on points will drop. They will no longer continue to be in the final point system.
Okay, so
they will continue the race.
They're in the grand final in a sense, but they've taken away out of the finals. They've kind of secured their spot. Again. They've secured their position.
Yeah, I'll explain that. I'll explain that in a second how that works. But I want to dispel something quickly now.
Yes.
Unlike what some people think, all 24 cars will still be on the grid. Throughout this whole process, every car will still be on the grid and still be eligible to race wins and for points. It'll just be who's eligible for the championship. Okay. So, like I said, we leave Adelaide. We leave Adelaide and the top bottom 3 are dropped unless they win one of the 2 races in Adelaide. In which case, they are guaranteed to the grand final. So no matter what happens, if they win the first race in Adelaide and DNF the next 3 races, it doesn't matter. They're through to Adelaide. Yep. They are through to the grand final in Adelaide. So you can have a possibility of 2 people that get guaranteed a spot out of those 2 races.
Yeah.
There's no bonus points for these 2 races either, like the enduros. Now we move to Sandown. Again, the points are reset. This time, I believe, if I'm correct, it's reset to 5,000. But it doesn't really matter. They've pulled another 1,000 points ahead. So it's either 4,000 or 5,000, I can't remember.
And that's from, 1,000. Is that from 7th to 8th where that is spread, or is that from 10th to 11th again?
First to 7 is pulled forward unless one of those bottom 3s is a race winner. In that case, the next lowest car. So let's say...
Oh, okay, so they kind of get leapfrogged in the order and then it goes kind of thing.
Yeah, so let's say whoever's 8th in the championship wins a race. Let's say they win the last race at Gold Coast. Well, then 6th drops out. Then 7th drops out. You know, they might have more points, but this one here won a race.
Yeah.
So he continues, and then the next car above them drops out.
Okay.
Or the next car at risk of elimination drops out.
Yep.
So we move to Sandown. Again, the points are reset. Same thing again. They reset to 4,000. Leader gets X amount. Second gets X amount. Everyone's separated by about 25 odd points, give or take.
Yep.
This time, no bonus point for the cup winners. Everyone's on their own. In Sandown, very much the same situation. The bottom 3 will drop out at the end of the Sandown round unless they win one of the 2 races at Sandown unless they win one of the 2 Sandown races or have won. Well, this is complicated, dude. Piss off. Or have won one of the 2 races at Gold Coast. So at the end of that process, we have the top 4, including up to 4 race winners from those 4 races. Which means this is probably the only part that gets a little bit worrying. There is a scenario here where the championship leader could be leading the championship all the way through, but 4 different drivers that aren't him have won a race in the last 2 rounds. Therefore, the championship leader will be knocked out.
Oh, okay. Is that something that you reckon was just overseen? Is that...
No, I think that's...
on purpose?
I'll get into my views about this. I'll get into my views about this in a second. I really want to just get all the information out of my head first.
Yeah.
So I want to...
I did kind of dump this on you, so...
No, like I said, I've been making a video about it, so this is... Good practice
Nerd.
for me to make sure no ball's still there. Yes. Um, so we go to Adelaide, the top four.
Okay.
Top
Uh,
four points plus whoever won a race in the last two rounds.
Okay, so we could have up
Of
to 8
the top four.
drivers, essentially.
No,
No,
four.
4.
That's what I misspoke there. So it'll be the top four
Yeah.
made up of either the highest points paying or whoever won the races at Gold Coast or Sandia. That's what I mean. Like that's where that possibility of the championship leader dropping out because four different drivers that weren't him won a race in the last two rounds, which puts on the
Uh,
pressure. But we'll get into that in a second. So we roll into Adelaide.
yeah.
Again, the points are reset. This time to 5,000. The
Yeah.
championship leader gets an extra 50. Second gets 35, I think it is. Oh, no, 25. Third gets an extra 15. And fourth gets nothing. They just stay on 5,000 flat.
Okay. Yep.
Now, there's three races across our late weekend, each one paying out a maximum of 100 points, plus the extra 5 points for fastest lap, because the fastest lap bonus comes back for the last round, being the 500 format.
Okay.
Whoever has the most points leaving Adelaide will be champion.
Okay.
So where I like where where I like how this works is it puts a lot. You got to be consistent throughout the season. You got to make it into the top 10 to start with, and then
Yeah.
you got to keep that pressure on all the way through the finals. You can't
Yeah.
just
So it's nothing
cruise
new to
through.
like building a championship. It's nothing new in that
No,
sense
it isn't.
of
It's just a lot more pressure because now it's a lot
yeah.
harder to win. It's
Yeah.
easy. It's still the same to get yourself in the opportunity,
Yeah.
but it's now a lot harder because you got to. As soon as you hit the ground at Gold Coast, you got to either be punching as much points as you can or to win a race.
Yeah.
And like I said, if the championship leader, this is where the pressure comes in. If your let's say it was Will Brown this year,
Yeah.
let's say it was last year, and it was Will Brown coming to the Gold Coast. Will Brown would be sitting there thinking, if I don't win a race, if Cam wins a race, if Chaz wins a race, if Brock wins a race, and someone else wins a race, I'm fucked. There's no amount of points you can come out of Sandown with and still be in the top four if there's four race winners from Adelaide and Gold Coast. So you got that pressure there of I have to be A, on top of the points,
Yeah.
and B, ideally win one race. One race you can relax a little bit knowing that your spot's guaranteed until Adelaide. But then
Okay. Yeah.
you're rolling to Adelaide and everything's out the window again. Like I said, it's like a point safety car. The top four, the people we care about, the top four that have won themselves or put themselves in points range of the championship to get them in that top four, big safety car puts them all together. But now going into Adelaide, the gap between first and fourth is only 50 points. It's 100 points for a race win. I
Yeah.
think even coming, if you finish 25th, it's still 30 points.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you came last qualifying, last classified car. So that's what everyone's talking about. It's not too NASCAR. Because NASCAR is you got to win a race to be in it, and then it's literally winner takes all the way up to the end of the season. Where
Yeah.
this is
You got to keep your
no
foot in
winner
the
takes
door.
all. You could come. You got to come. You can come fifth or sixth, whatever in Adelaide, but you just got to be consistent over the other four. And it
Yeah.
also means mathematically, I think I did the maths on this late last year. I'm pretty sure the only way for the championship to be sealed before
Yeah.
the race on Sunday is if a second through the fourth DNFs both races and the championship leader wins the first two races. That's the only mathematical way they can roll in the Sunday with the deal done.
All right. Yep. Yep. Yep.
And even then, that doesn't minimize the. I think it would be very difficult. It'd be very difficult mathematically to roll in to Sunday with all I got to do is 12. Yeah, we get that all the time. Of all he's got to do is roll around. He's just got to get 12.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that will happen much. It will be there'll still be some mathematics. It might be okay. I've got to get second, but
But
that still puts a lot of pressure on.
that's still up the grid a lot further.
Yeah, it's still a lot of pressure, and it's a look, it's going to be guaranteed a minimal two team fight. It's
Yeah,
going to be a minimal 4 driver fight. And like I said, the other 24 cars plus wild cars are still there.
yeah,
You're not jostling between 4 other cars on the track. You're jostling between everyone else, and everyone else doesn't give a fuck about your championship.
yeah. They want to
They want
get
to
there,
win the race.
fucking
Just they want to win. They want to win a race as much as you want to win that title, but they don't give a fuck about you. You got to navigate them. You got to play like mind games ahead of. Is it should I let so and so through for the race win and take second, even though it's going to put me in a worse position for tomorrow? But if I fight with them and have a clash like
could write my
Brock
car
and
off.
Chaz did,
Yeah,
could write the car off, then you're out for Sunday, or it could. You could drop a heap of points, and now that nice gap you built on Friday
yeah,
so how do you build a gap of points over second on Friday by you winning and then coming third or whatever,
yeah,
and now you power off on Saturday and you come last or you DNF at all. Now that gap's fuck all,
yeah.
and
Absolutely.
you're going into the final race where you might not just lose the championship. You might drop the third. You could drop the fourth
Yeah,
if the circumstances line up. It's a real dogfight. I'm really excited for this. I know everyone's shitting on it. I think it's gonna be great.
They can
I'm
only
not gonna say it
try
doesn't.
something new. Like, it doesn't hurt to
I, I
give it a
think give
go.
it
See how it goes for a couple of years.
I think give it a solid 2 years. Look, if we come in 2 years' time and it's buggy and it's fucked, whatever.
Yeah,
Fine, let's go back to it. Nothing's set in stone in this world. Everything can be changed.
yeah,
But let's give it a crack. I don't think it's gonna be perfect. I think there's gonna be. I've sat here obviously a lot and tried to pull it apart. I've really sit there and think, how do you become an undeserving champion in this?
yeah,
And it's because like I said, with that scenario of the championship lead doesn't make the top four, you know, people saying, "Oh, that's not an undeserving champion." Hang on, one of those drivers that knocked him out, all 4 of those drivers that would have knocked the championship leader out if that scenario happens,
yeah,
they've all been consistent enough to be in the top 10 with 3 rounds to go.
yeah,
They've all been consistent enough, make it into. They've all been consistent enough to win one of those 4 races to knock out that champion. Like the pressure's on both ways. I can't like I've really tried to pull it apart and say how can you like because we saw it in NASCAR this year where the champion I can't remember his name the NASCAR does the winner takes all format. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the NASCAR driver, but I think his average finishing all year was 17th, but he won one race
yeah,
which put him into the finals, and then he managed to come out on top on the final race and became the champion. Now, see, in this scenario, you're not going to do that. Like your minimal is going to be to scrape in. You've got to be 10th, and that's
yeah,
10th if the 2 cup winners aren't behind you. But that gives you great incentive. Like look at Brody Kostecki this year. Erebus said when Brody came back, Erebus said, "Well, the season's fucked. Let's focus on Bathurst."
yeah,
Now, like I said, there's some rule. I'm not sure what the rule is if you're just going to be a main game registered driver or you actually got to be entered in every round.
yeah,
But let's just say, okay,
yep,
you can have a shit year. This gives you the opportunity where you have a shit year. You've had a shit one at the Grand Prix. You've had a shit one at Simmons Plains. You're not going to make the top 10. Let's focus on the Enduros. Bang! You won the Enduros. You got a second and a fifth. You're
yeah,
the maximum points winner. You're now into the finals.
yeah,
You might be 10th. You're probably outside the top 10 to start with, but you've pushed in the Enduros. You made the finals. Great, good on you.
yeah,
But you're still not guaranteed a spot in Adelaide. Now it's time to put up and shut up.
yeah,
You're now in Gold Coast. You've got to maximise your points or win a race. And if you can't put up and shut up through those 2 stages of the season and then do it again in the finals and all the way through the finals, I said, there's no reprieve until you win a race.
yeah,
Until you win a race in Gold Coast or Adelaide, there's no reprieve. It's all pressure. And that's no different to when you win the
building in the
first week of
championship.
AFL footies.
Yeah,
AFL the finals you get a week off, but then you win a race, then you're thrown to Adelaide.
yeah,
You're thrown into Adelaide where it's 3-on-1 for everyone. There's only 50 points between you and the leader, you and the fourth,
yeah.
and you got to nail all 3 races at least against them to win the title.
Fucking hell. I understand it much better now. So thank you for that. Because that was a fucking that was a good
feel,
20-minute fucking spill there. So, Jesus fucking Christ. It is, yeah, a lot to get around.
honestly, that's good to be up because I could save me a whole day of filming.
Yeah.